Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to the Aha Moments Radio Show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened living worldwide with your host, Mariana Cooper, founder of Aha Moments International and AhaMomentsWorld.com. Tune in for the next hour and learn to trust your aha moments to lead the way to live a passionate and purposeful life. And now here's your host, Mari.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aha Moments Radio Show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened living worldwide. I'm Mari, and happy Tuesday. We are back here doing the show. I think we're kind of averaging about every other week because my schedule's been sort of out of control, but I love doing the show, so I wanted to get one in this week, and I tell you what, there's so much going on in the world right now, and I think this was one of the reasons why I said I have to do a show. What inspired me to do today's show was, or is, the wildfires going on in Canada. It's just something that, every so often, it's not every so often, but, you have these big things that happen around the world, right? Tsunamis and earthquakes and different things. And certain things, I don't know if it happens to you, but certain things that kind of hit you in different ways, some things lighter than others. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, that's not a good thing, but it's not like something that's on my mind. And then there's other events that really just sort of hit you like right over the head, like, wow, and you kind of keep your eye on it, and you kind of watching it on Facebook and looking at every video and feeling a sense of connectedness to it. And that's how I feel about these wildfires in Canada. I was actually in a wildfire myself in New York, believe it or not. I was driving from New Jersey to New York to my mother's to take her to the doctor, and there was a wildfire in Staten Island that went on for, it certainly wasn't like Canada. It was on for a day or so, but it was a big deal. And it was shutting down the highways, and I remember them trying to get us to drive through it. It was on the side of the road, but you literally couldn't see through your windshield in the car, and it was out of all of the different natural disasters I've been in, and I've been in a lot of different ones and different, hurricanes and earthquakes and, all kinds of insanity, blizzards and all kinds of things. A fire is by far the worst, because there's no, it's no recovering from that. If you can get burned, you get burnt. And so seeing the magnitude of that, and then the repercussions of what it does to the animals, and not just the domesticated animals, but all the wild animals and everything that are just losing their homes in addition to the people, is just very, very stressful to me. So I just, we do all these parallel realities and multidimensional manifesting and all that kind of stuff for ourselves, and everybody's focused on getting all the material things and relationships and their financial independence and freedom and all that stuff. And all of this work is also meant for us to help each other. So today's show is going to be dedicated to helping friends and family, and working with, basically using our powers to work with other people, and also to help world events like what's going on in Canada and other things around the world. So you'll be able to use these tools in a much greater way, and as you do that, it just makes you more powerful in your ability to use it for yourself, because it just increases your frequency and increases your own potency and your own power to spread, within your own resonance and your own vibrational energy, and that will help you as well. So I will be taking some calls today, and the number to call in, if you haven't done so already, is 347-215-9485. That's 347-215-9485. 9485. So if anyone has questions, they can certainly call in and ask me. I'll be happy to take them a little bit later in the show. So in addition to a very crazy election situation in the United States of America. We have 5 planets retrograding, and is there 6? 5 or 6 planets retrograding, and we have a Mercury in retrograde right now, which ends next week on the not next week, week after next, I believe, on the 21st, on the 22nd of just looking at my calendar here, if it pops up on my computer, on the 22nd of May, the Mercury in retrograde ends, and then we have some other planets, Venus, Saturn, and Mars. So that's, it's a week from this Saturday is when, the week from Sunday, this coming Sunday, when the retrograde of Mercury ends. But what's interesting about this is that just because, there's a lot of people, I've seen a lot of different accounts on Facebook and all different things, and people are, it's like a cataclysmic thing. And you have to really look at your sign and what you are to really know how this is all affecting your world. Because I know for Leos, it's actually a time of high money, of high success, even though there's several retrograding planets. There's like things that are coming back online, like Pluto and Jupiter's doing something, and Neptune is doing whatever, and all these different things. I'm not an astrologer, but one of the people I really trust when it comes to this kind of stuff is Susan Miller, and she's at astrologyzone.com, and I have no affiliation with her whatsoever. She doesn't even know I exist, but I always use her astrology reading. If I'm going to look at an astrology reading at all, that's the one I go to. She's the most balanced, I've found, and she's not really egoic, so she's not trying to create some sort of apocalypse that doesn't exist, or worst case scenarios like I've seen some of the others. And she's at astrologyzone.com, and it's free. And I don't even look at it every month. Every so often, like this is the first time this year that I actually looked at the charts, because I was like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I just want to see what her take is on it. So I checked it out, and it was nowhere near. And I was kind of like bracing myself, like, okay. It was nowhere near what I thought it would be. It was actually way, way, way better, and lots of positive stuff. So you might want to check out your sign on astrologyzone.com if that's something that feels resonating with you. And I just also recognize that whatever you see, you can choose to parallel out of it. So this is not set in stone to the point where, you're just doomed and damned to hell if you're reading this stuff and you're getting yourself all worked up. You have the power to choose all the way around. And this is what's so exciting and powerful about multidimensional manifesting and about working with your parallel realities, because it's really giving you kind of the most up-to-date version of your own personal energetic capacities that we've ever had in history, at least, on the timeline that we're at as we speak. And so we're accessing greater and greater parts of ourselves, aspects of our hard self, and there's just more and more options, more and more efficient opportunities for us to use our energy efficiently. So I'm repeating my words here, like hearing the guides and talking at the same time. And so it's a very, very, very powerful time. And just so you know, it's not a matter of, out with astrology, in with parallel. It's a matter of understanding where it all fits, and that it all does have something to do with each other, and that as we get more refined in our own abilities, then new capacities show up. And so the older things that are more traditional, numerology, astrology, and all that, it's relative. It still applies, but it's how do you apply it in your world? How do you you're still more powerful than all of it, because you have the free will to choose whether this is going to be something that you give permission in your world to affect you or not. Okay, and that goes for readings, that goes for any kind of inquiries you're doing where it's involving someone else giving you some sort of readout. It's always up to you to give it the title of permission slip or not. Are you going to give it permission to have an effect in your world or not? And that's super important to note. So that's what's going on as far as the energy. We had a new moon last week, which is awesome. So now we're in a waxing moon, which means that things are. It's a great time for bringing things in. So you're getting more and more moonlight each night. So your energy, even with all the retrograde craziness, might be a little bit higher than it was last week. That's for sure. I know mine is. And you get some more clarity. It's the springtime. It's a time of acceleration. So just keep going. Keep pushing forward. Keep going with your goals and your plans and your dreams and your manifesting sessions, your alignment sessions, and whatever else you're partaking in. Next week we have on the 21st a blue moon. So we have the full moon on the 21st of May, and that should be a nice time as well. So we'll have the blue moon coming in and Mercury getting out of the way as far as retrograde. Some of the other planets are retrograding all the way through the end of June, but they're not as heavily influential for most people in their charts the way the Mercury is, as far as, right in your face kind of thing. And listen, as each one rolls off of retrograde, things just get lighter and lighter and lighter. So I think we're getting kind of to the thick of it, and then things will start to normalize starting over the next week. So all that being said, I wanted to talk today about, I have one more announcement. Actually, I forgot about it. We have our multidimensional manifesting lab. We have a new class, a level 2 class, starting next Tuesday. We'll be doing these before the radio shows on Tuesdays for the next 4 weeks, from the 17th through June 7th. And so if you've taken level 1, then you're eligible to take level 2. Level 1 is only available now by audio course. I'm teaching this level 2. I actually did teach a level 2 already, and then I also taught a level 3. But the guys asked me to teach one more live, so I'll be teaching this level 2 live, which always gives you way more access to me, obviously, for questions and that type of thing. So it's always good to be able to take something live versus the audio course if you can. There's more information that's coming in, so that's why they're saying to do the level 2 live one more time. And then from there they'll go in, probably be audio courses, offered later on in the year or next year or something like that. But if you would like to take the class, then check your inbox, because we sent out emails about it. And I realized when I put the deadline for our early registration that the deadline ended up on Mother's Day, which is not fair because everybody's so busy on Mother's Day, myself included. So I've extended that, and we're going to extend it throughout probably through Thursday of this week, because I need to just get this nailed down to see how many people we have so I can do the rest of the planning for the course. But so we'll give it another 2 days or so. And if you'd like to take level 2 and you've already purchased level 1 as an audio course and you're eligible to take level 2, I highly recommend it. A lot of people have been doing a lot of one-on-one sessions, and the majority of the questions that are coming up are part of the level 2 and level 3 work. So this is a 3-level, 12-week program. 4 weeks into the course is a great start, but it's not the whole thing. So when you start dealing with the doubt, the fear, different things that happen when you're working in this kind of stuff, and you're learning it, and you're learning about frequencies and energy, it doesn't all happen in 4 classes. So there's a lot of refinements. There's accelerators, things that help to accelerate your progress, fine-tuning. Like I've noticed a lot of people when I'm talking to them in the private session, they're almost there with their parallel alignment sessions, but they're actually off enough that I'll keep them in what I call purgatory, where it's kind of like in that in-between stage. You're not completely out of it because you're doing the work, but you're also not getting what you want because you're not doing it right. A lot of the times people's sessions are getting very long and very detailed, and a lot of times that detail in the session, like if your session is not like very short and succinct and you're getting longer and longer and longer, kind of doing more of a long form creative visualization type of theme, or scenes, it's not normally because you're enjoying it so much, so that you're, floating through and, oh, my kitchen will look like this, and oh, the relationship will look like that, and I'll be financially independent and free, and I live at the beach. It's not all just that. What a lot of that times that is when you get into those really long sessions, it's because your mental mind is arguing with you. So what I've heard people say is, oh, I have this wonderful scene, and oh, Mari, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. This is, I'm doing this and this and this, and then this is going to happen, and this happened because that happened, and I got the car because I did it this way, and then now I got the house because, when my scene, I'm telling my friend I got my house because I did this and this, and it's your mental mind telling a story of how it made it all happen. That's not an alignment session. It's like a goal planning session, but it's not an alignment session. So that's not going to bring it through energetically in any kind of efficient time frames. It's going to lengthen it because essentially what you're doing is you're kind of going back and forth with trying to shut your mental mind up. Say, mental mind says, oh, yeah, you think you're going to have that? Yeah, well, how'd you get that? And you say, oh, well, I did it because, and you're talking, you kind of manifesting from the middle of the process of trying to sort out the how in your vision sessions. And that's that, and even considering them to be vision sessions, that puts it out there instead of here. So I'm saying this just so that you can, if you are doing that and you're noticing your sessions are getting very long, or you get lost in the scenes and because you're in so much level of detail and all of that, you're kind of you're sort of mixing up the old manifesting from The Secret, and I call the Jack Canfield kind of manifesting where, with all this detail and vision boards and go test drive that car and go to the open house. And, we all taught that stuff, I myself included. And it was fine for the time, but that stuff is 11 years, 12, 20 years old now, and this is what we're talking about now is much more efficient. Okay, and it actually predates all of it anyway, but it's much more efficient, and now we have the energetic grid to support us in that efficiency. So it's kind of like we have the cell phone and we have the signal instead of one or the other like we have had in the past. So just things short, sweet, to the point. Keep it as if it's already happened. And you know the drill if you've taken the courses, so I'm not going to go into it right now, but very, very important to keep that in mind. And I highly recommend that you take level 2 and 3 so that you get the full body of work and you're not just doing 4 weeks over and over and over again. I've heard certain people say, oh, I've listened to your classes, the 4 classes, 6 times, and it's wonderful. But you're just churning because it's like another, 8 weeks of stuff that's in addition, okay? So just keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so let's move on now to our conversation for tonight, which is how to use your multidimensional manifesting to help others and to help the world. And like I said, a lot of people don't really care about helping others. They're so busy focusing on their own money, relationships, and everything else. But this is very, very powerful and very, very important. So the first thing that's important to note is that we're always having inner conversations with ourselves, right, with other people in our heads. So because we're always practicing what we're going to talk about when we actually see someone in person. So let's say you're in a work situation and you have a job where you're very concerned with your boss and you're really stressed out over your boss, and you start to have conversations in your head with your boss over and over and over and over and over again. And you see yourself telling your boss off in this way, and you see yourself telling your boss off in that way, and arguing with the boss and tell them how you really feel, and and you're having this whole thing in your head, or seemingly in your head. You're actually using, without really recognizing it, you are using that as a alignment session. You're aligning with that person negatively, though. And so every time you have one of these internal, in your head conversations with someone, and you're telling them off, or going around and around. It could be with your sister, it could be with your mother, it could be with your father, in-laws, whoever. but you're going around and around and you're kind of in that perseverating thing, it is affecting your world and the way you interact. Now, it's not only is it affecting your specific relationship with that person because now you're talking to them energetically, it's also affecting your money. It's also affecting your health. It's also affecting the flow of your day, because when you are in a kind of a knot with one thing, that energy just goes into your vibrational resonance as your overall sort of idle switch. So how you're idling through the day. How's your engine idling through the day? Is it idling in a high frequency or is it idling in a low frequency? Are you, kind of bitching and moaning in your head constantly about, I hate this customer service person and this person did me wrong and that's this is that, and you're going in all these different directions in your head? Because what you're doing is you're scrambling your frequency. And what you're doing is you're taking withdrawals from your vibrational bank. Remember that, I was explaining this to several of my private clients yesterday. You're always investing money into your vibrational bank or withdrawing it. Always. There's no kind of just sitting and idling. There's no thought that doesn't count. You're picking parallels every second, a billion times a second. So, and most of the time we're picking the same thing over and over and over again, so it looks very linear, it looks very continuous. But if you're picking negative, and then you go do an alignment session for 10 minutes, and then it's positive for 10 minutes, but you're up for 16 hours a day. Let's say you do 3 alignment sessions for 10 minutes each, that's 30 minutes in a day, but you're awake for 16 hours of the day, so 15 and a half hours are kind of free-for-all, where you're spinning out. You're cursing this one out in your head. You're telling that one off when you're driving down the street. You're hating that customer service rep because they didn't get you what you needed. Your kid is over here. You're freaked out about that. Your husband isn't acting right. He's not making you happy. Your boss is doing you wrong. The coworkers are all too political. You've had it with the election. You can't watch the news. One of those kind of things. Then that other 15 and a half hours a day is like a cesspool. And so what do you think is going to have more influence on outcomes? The 30 minutes of alignment sessions or the 15 and a half hours of insanity? So just like you do your alignment sessions are the gas pedal. Okay? So there's a throttle. They're the accelerators. They're accelerators for bringing something into complete visibility in your physical world. That's what your alignment sessions are for. When, so you do, let's say 2 or 3 of those a day, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. But let's say you're dedicating about 30 minutes to literally being in alignment a day. So you've got to now take that other 15 and a half hours and you've got to match the frequency as best you can to those alignment sessions, because the consistency is what's going to get it to show up in your world. Remember, the only reason why you're going to get any of this stuff is because your vibrational match or frequency match or, in complete alignment with that thing so that it's in your physical world. So if you go from those very strong alignment sessions to doubt, blame, shame, guilt, fear, doubt, and then spike to positive. Oh, I'm telling myself affirmations. I'm now in the house, and then you fall down. You kind of fall backwards back into. But for now, in my current reality, I've got this bill to pay, and I'm pissed off. And when you start to divide your world up like that, you literally are picking parallels where your frequency is high, and then picking parallels where your frequency tanks all day long, second by second by second by second by second. So what you're creating is chaos in your frequency. And whatever the dominant chaos is, whether it's what we consider rude positive or negative, the universe it's all neutral to that. It's just going to go after, it's just going to produce whatever your dominant frequency is. So if you're looking at a chaotic situation from point to point to point of your day, then just know it's just literally those circumstances are a reflection of what your internal conversations are. So that being said, you're talking to your boss and you're doing it all in your head. That's creating that relationship to reflect exactly that way in your field. So if we took that, though, and turned it around, and you turned the conversation around in your head where you're in your mind, you're having this, a conversation with them that's going in a more positive direction, and deliberately saying, okay, I'm now choosing to have the version of relationship with this person that is congenial and, recognizing my worth and me recognizing their worth and a win-win for both of us and all that, then you're going to, at the very least, have ease around that interaction, more ease as opposed to build in prescribed angst. Remember, whatever your thoughts are your energetic prescription for what you're going to live. You're literally like the doctor making out the prescription energetically and handing it over to the pharmacist, which is your parallel, and it's saying, okay, here you go. Here's what you ordered. There it is, over and over and over again. Okay, so you could say, well, I've had negative conversations in my head, but it worked out anyway. That a lot of times what will happen is frequency spills over into other parts of your life. So let's say you went out and you had an amazing weekend with your kids. You have little kids or whatever, and you went slow kites and you got ice cream and you walked on the beach and you had a barbecue or you went camping or whatever, and you had this really elated, super high-octane, happy, joyful time with people you absolutely adore, your kids. And so let's say you do that all day on a Sunday. That is so powerful that engine, you turn on such a high-frequency engine, especially when you're dealing with child-like activities where you bring out your own inner child and you're all in and you're just really kind of in the thick of it and you're not adulting, you're fully in that raw, joyful energy. That has a lot more weight than negativity. So what's going to happen is you'll be able to coast off of that vibe if you don't kill it. Okay, now it's time to switch gears to go back to work. If you don't kill it, that vibe will permeate through all the other categories of your life as well. So I know I've always told the story about dancing and saying, I want to, this is a hobby or whatever. And I remember saying to God, bankroll me, please. And I was so all in. And I always, when I ever think, okay, when was your energy all in, where you weren't splintered in any way? And it was that, when I was riding horses or dancing or whatever. And there was just this all in feeling. I very rarely have that unless I'm doing one of those two things. But it's all in. Every single piece of my being was going in one direction. It was complete, perfect alignment. Perfect alignment. And then the money came in like a waterfall. It was like Niagara Falls because I was in there was no doubt, there was no shame, there was no contradiction in my energy. There was no, maybe I should be doing something else tonight, but I really want to dance. None of it. It was like, it was like that thunk of connection, right? So when you have that, then everything circulates in that way. And that's what we're trying to orchestrate. But the best way to get that is to really do it, to really be it. And the more you can do that throughout your day, so because I remember whenever I was riding or dancing, I had more money coming in than I ever did writing books and doing all these other things that were, quote, more legitimate use of your time, all that kind of stuff, because I was so passionate. There was just such, when you do whatever activity that is you do, for you could be gardening. I've been that way about gardening as well. It could be ice skating. It could be crocheting, knitting, whatever. When you lose sense of time, when you lose sense of even location where you are, and you feel that kind of, oh, wow, I don't even know what time it is. I talk to a lot of friends who ride, and they say, when I hit the driveway of the barn and I make that turn, it's like everything in my regular world turns off, and everything in my horse world turns on, and it's just all consuming. You lose all track of time, and before you know it, you're there 4 or 5 hours. And then when you come back down that driveway when the day is done at the barn, and you get back on the highway, you're like, your day starts to, like your regular life starts to load back in. And it's such a huge difference from being out with animals and everything to being out back to the mundane world. So the point is, though, that there's a tremendous amount of power in complete alignment, and there's no delay. So those 15 hours a day need to really be managed to the best of your ability to be in this, as much as you possibly can, choosing even the most mundane things, picking from a place of, does this make me feel lighter, or does this bring me joy, and does this, lift my mood? That's the way you need to focus, and that's where you're putting, a coin into that piggy bank of vibration, a vibrational piggy bank every minute of the day, every choice you make. Is this making me happier or not? And so your inner conversations shape your outer experiences. So that's number one. Number two, when you're dealing with relationships with people, okay, so you might have, let's say, a friend who's going through a rough time, and they're, the last thing you want to do is start preaching parallels to people. So it's like, your friend is having a meltdown. You're like, you really should pick the parallel where you're not having a meltdown, because you're going to, bankrupt yourself vibrationally, and your frequency is going to just kill everything, and they're ready to slaughter you, right? So you don't need to take people through a parallel conversation. What you can do, though, is to see them in a parallel where what they're desiring is solved. So if you really like somebody or not, and they're having a bad day, you can literally go into your own alignment session very quickly. You can do it even as they're talking. You don't even have to go all, get all advanced. You can just sort of, they're going on their tear, and you just see them as saying, remember when we were talking on the phone yesterday, I was so upset. I can't believe how quickly this thing worked itself out. And you just see them say, and you hear yourself say, I'm so excited that's all, you're in a good place now, that's all done now. And so that doesn't mean that you've figured it out for them. It doesn't mean that you've given them any kind of beat them into submission, into doing parallels too, or anything like that. It's just that you're seeing the outcome that's best, for them, materializing for them. And that works. It really works. So, and I've done it with several friends and family members, where you just, instead of going around the mulberry bush, you can, with them and spinning out. And I have a tendency to get on these tears with friends and stuff, and I'll be, preaching, and they're just getting more tired, and they don't really care. Or they do care, but it's it's exhausting for everybody. And so now I don't do that as much. Sometimes I do because I get aggravation, but I try very hard not to do that, not to go and overinvest in somebody else's issues and take it on for them, give them every answer. You just see them in the parallel where it's handled, where they figured it out, where they found their own alignment, which is the most powerful thing you can do for someone, is to see them finding their own alignment. So it goes for your kids, it goes for your family members, it goes for your friends, it goes for your coworkers, it goes for your relationship. You can see yourself in the parallel where they are in a good place, and they're telling you about it, or you're congratulating them on that. So then romantic relationships, that's a whole other thing, because, and that's a whole other class. I've actually been toying with the idea of doing a little mini course on romantic relationships with parallel realities. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to embark on that, but it is something that keeps coming up. And so let me know if you want to hear a class like that. But you can email me. But it's a very interesting thing, because we've been taught, everybody has their free will, and you really can't have, you can't influence anyone against their free will. And that's absolutely the case. I agree with that 100%. Everybody has their own free will. When you're working with parallels, though, we have multiple versions of ourselves. So there is that version of that person that is by their own free will in alignment with what your desire is. So there's also times when the archetype of that person just isn't the right person for you. And even though there might be a parallel where they are, doing, where you're interacting with them in the way you want to interact with them, it may not be the best, most efficient, for your highest, that archetype of person, that particular person's makeup may not be for you. So in which case, then being with somebody different is the better choice. You'll know. You'll know because you can go into, working on parallels, and it's just not working, and it just feels really stuck and heavy, and it just feels like it might even be going backwards. Then okay, you're sort of pushing yourself in a direction where that archetype of person just isn't necessarily right for you at this time. It may be that you need to be with somebody else and who's a different archetype for the frequency of that first person to shift. It may be that you just need to be in a different direction altogether with a different person, and that's that, and that's fine. Your higher self is always leading you forward to the easiest scenario. If it's going to require, extraordinary mountains to be moved, then you're better off, in majority of cases, choosing the parallel where you have a relationship that is in complete alignment and of the greatest ease. Okay, so you see yourself, one of the scenarios you could do, instead of trying to pick that a specific scene with that person, that exact person, it could be that you are with a totally neutral friend, and let's say, you have a particular guy in mind, and if you're working parallels and everything, it's just not working. It just doesn't feel like there's a connection. It's just your circumstances just are not shifting. So the better, and you keep having a scene with you and this guy on a beach or something or whatever, what you want to do is you want to just turn that off. You want to just sort of get away from the scene that actually has a face and that human in there, and you want to go to a totally neutral person. So let's say you go out with your best friend, and you're at happy hour or something, and your best friend in the scene is you're with your friend, and she's looking at you and saying, shaking her head and saying, "Wow, you know what? I just love this guy for you," and it's just this guy for you. She's not saying the name. You're not getting the picture of the guy. Just, I love this guy for you. He's all in. You could see it when I was watching him interact with you. You can just see that he's so into you. Every cell of his body is connected. It's like all his engines are on. He really, really cares so deeply for you. He cherishes you, and you deserve that. So here's to being cherished. Clink the glasses, right? So you've neutralized it. What you've done is you're not telling yourself it's not the person that you want, because that sends you into a tailspin. You get all panicked. Oh, this is about this guy, whatever. You're all hooked on this person. But you're also not saying that it's not someone else. You're just saying that whoever it is, the alignment is there, and then it really won't matter who it is, because when you feel in alignment, all the old stuff doesn't matter anymore, because the alignment is just so incredibly all-consuming and so, over the top as far as, how good it feels. So all the past history, will not matter. So the next thing that you want to do, so it's very important, though, to not let yourself now, let's say you do an alignment session with your friend, like I just suggested, and then you come out of that, and then you start, pulling angel cards. Is this person for me? And trying to find evidence. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And well, when and how and all that. You're going to get yourself, you're undoing your parallel. You're literally picking backwards into the parallel where you're in waiting, right? Because there are those parallels. You literally pick parallels where you're in waiting versus parallels when you're actually in a relationship, right? So if you're in the alignment session and you're actually in the relationship, and then all of a sudden you come back out of the alignment session and your other 15 and a half hours you're in, quote, waiting, what parallel do you think you're really ultimately picking? So remember, those 15 and a half hours count. And do you have to be perfect? No. But do you have to be, prudent? Yes, absolutely. All right, so I'll leave that with that. Now I want to talk a little bit about world events, because I think that's really, really important. And I asked in my Facebook group, we have a private Facebook group for those who've been a part of who've, taken level 1, level 2, or level 3 of the manifesting lab. And I asked that we, for volunteers to participate in what I call a parallel prayer group, which is where we take, for instance, we're taking the Canadian wildfires and seeing a parallel where together where we're hearing on the news that the rains came and these fires have been put out in a miraculous way, and literally seeing, you can choose however you want to do it, as far as, so you pick something that's resonating with you from the parallel perspective, but choosing the parallel where you either see a video on Facebook and it's like, wow, record rainstorm, answered prayer, record rainstorm hits the Canadian wildfires and they're under control or out, or you go past even further, you go even further down the timeline and see parallels, see the time where people are talking about, last year when the wildfires were suddenly put out by rain. It was our first evidence that miracles and prayer work, or, that type of thing. You can go so far out that it's just last year this time when that ended, it was so amazing that it ended so quickly, and you see yourself having a conversation. I remember one kind of a conversation. However you do it, though, you're putting them in a parallel where these fires are no longer burning is powerful, is needed, and works. And essentially, when people are praying for situations like that, they're doing it anyway. They're just not realizing that they're choosing a parallel where it works. That's what prayer actually does. But to have a bunch of us doing this together is super powerful. And that's where our group collective consciousness can come together. And that's one of the things that happens, when people start to go down a rabbit hole, when we have, like somebody had asked me about the group consciousness, and the group consciousness very much is affected by how people are choosing their parallels. I mean, if you have everybody, just millions of people all picking similar parallel at the same time, it's a very, very powerful thing. Okay, things like when people start to get on a tear about the economy collapsing, or the elections, and or like even when something like Prince dying, and then everybody's thinking about Prince, and then everybody starts to hear his music playing over their head. Like, how many days did you hear Purple Rain playing in your head? When Michael Jackson died, Man in the Mirror, it was like over, just droning on and on and on in my head. Prince has not gone on so as long as Michael did, because there was so much litigation around his thing. He had a lot more press, I think, ultimately. His was lasting for months because they didn't know, there's all that stuff going on around it. And so, but still, the group consciousness all synced up kind of simultaneously and started picking parallels of focus on that all together. So it's super powerful. So you can do that to create events and to reverse events. So, and you can use that for storms. You can use that for, if you're in a disaster, like there's an earthquake happening as we speak, or there's a tornado on your block, you can put yourself into that parallel in that moment. Don't worry about the alpha state and all these different little things. Just close your eyes very quickly to say, or you can just even announce it. I am in the parallel where this thing bypasses our house, and you see it go whoosh, to yourself quickly, to see yourself telling someone, wow, it was right there and then it was gone, and just banish it away. And you can do that. The old religion did that all the time before there was all this technology and everything. That's how farmers lived. That's how, that's why we had those indigenous religions prior to, we would call them religions, or systems of prayer, like the Native Americans, prior to Christianity, predating all these organized religions. There was the Aboriginals, the people that were accused of being witches and all that. These people knew their power that we were born with, everybody's born with, to have that ability to move matter and alchemy create something from seemingly nothing, to create with energy, to manage the weather with energy. That's how farmers, worked. It wasn't a matter of a time block. It was a matter of the sunrise and the sunset and going off, letting the earth sort of communicate back and forth. And that's what we're sort of regaining now, regaining those abilities and those capacities to do that. So tonight, when you are on your way to sleep, send a parallel prayer for Canada, if you will, seeing them as whole, seeing them as, you can do it, I call them short parallels, like narrow and wide parallels, so you could see something as narrow as you seeing on a YouTube video or, a new video on Facebook or on television, hearing, the fires are now under control, the turn of events, and storm, hit. So you can do something as narrow as that, so it's kind of more, seemingly closer. Or you can do something where you go off a little bit further in time and look back and say, wow, that ended really fast, and that's amazing that we heard that. Or, just feeling a sense of relief for them, But I just think as a community, it'll be very, very supportive and very, very helpful from an energetic perspective. And we'll all be doing the same thing. So, okay, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of tea here because I've been talking for a really long time. And we're going to go ahead and take a few questions. And if if you have a question, you can call in at 347-215-9485. Sam was just sending me notes. That's why I stopped. I stopped in my mid-sentence there because we can have a lot on me. Okay, so first we have Carol in New Jersey. Hi, Carol.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
I'm good. How are you? You're welcome. What's your question?
I'm just hearing you with the parallel prayer and stuff. That was all new to me. I like it, and I'm going to do it for the fires tonight. But my question is regarding me and my longtime boyfriend. We've been having a lot of issues lately. Basically, started a little over a month ago when my sister had an accident, and then we had to let her go 6 days later. We kind of broke up twice already, and we're back together. And just wondering if there's going on there or hidden stuff, I guess, from him.
You were going in and out. I couldn't understand the last part of the question.
Oh, okay. I had you on a speaker. That's why. I'm sorry. I was just wondering if you see us really working it out. I think we are now. I feel like we are, but I'm not secure about it.
It doesn't really feel like there's a lot of security around the situation. It feels like you've outgrown it and that it's time to move on from it. So I would invest some time in some personal development work because it just feels like you're like the tail of a kite in that situation, kind of just moving along with it as opposed to choosing it. And that's what all this work that we've been talking about for several shows in a row has been, is just really kind of helping people to choose the direction of these things. Now, as far as the parallel work, it's really a matter of you can choose a situation where you're just having an easier time of it with him, or you can choose a situation where you are being seen, you're seeing yourself as already in a much congenial situation with somebody else. So it's really up to you how you choose for it to work. That's going to work. But as of right now, if you stay the same right now, it doesn't feel like it's going to stick for long. I'm going to have to jump to the next person, but I hope that's been a little bit of help.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
Okay, So, and if you're on a speakerphone, that was like really hard to hear because there's a lot of echo. Could you please take us off speaker before we answer the call? And our next question is from Tracy in Orange County.
Hi, Mari. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so grateful that you're taking my call. I read your book, and I love your work. I'm so appreciative right now.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I love it.
What's your question?
So my question is, I'm planning on selling my house and putting it on the market soon. And I just I'm trying to decide between a couple of realtors, and I'm just wondering, am I getting too caught up in the details, and do you see anything that maybe I should look out for, or?
It feels like you're in California, right? In Orange County?
Yes.
The OC. Sam put the OC, so yeah.
That's right.
Now, I know real estate is very fierce there, even as I understand I live in California, so I get the market, and I get that it can get very, heady. It does feel like from a totally psychic perspective, it feels like if there's a guy realtor, you're better off with the guy than the women. That's perfect. And the second thing is don't overshoot with your price. It's just feeling like you're better off erring on the lower side and having a bidding war than you are trying to go too high because it's a buyer's market.
Right.
So it just feels like if you're getting a guy who's giving you a strong strategy, it just feels like they're saying that's the one to go with.
Thank you.
Yeah, Archangel Jophiel is Jophiel is an angel for beautifying your space. She helps with house sales and that type of thing. So that might be a guide for you to sort of help you. I don't know why she just came up pretty strong for you. And then the other thing that's even more important than all of that is choose the parallel where this thing you just see it sold, and that's going to be way more powerful than any psychic prediction ever because you're choosing it. So I would focus in that direction even more so than what I just said.
Perfect.
See, it
Thank
is already
you
done.
so much.
You are so welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck with that. Take care. Have a great night. Okay, so next we have we have Lily in California.
Good evening. Hi.
Hi there. How are you?
Well, beautiful news. They finally figured out what was causing my health issues. I missed out on an opportunity for my dream job as a school nurse, but I'm really positive to know that it is for a higher good. So I really want to know what Spirit has to say for my career, and when will I start working again?
Okay, so I'm confused because you said a lot of things all at once. So ask me the question again, specifically about career. What's happening and what it is you want to know.
I want to know when I will be working and when will I get a job?
Are you looking for a job? I mean, have you been taking action on that?
I have. I've applied. I'm an LVN, and I applied at several places in my area, and I keep putting out there the hours and the pay and what I want.
How are you putting it out there? What does that mean when you say that?
I'm really positive, manifesting. I am tired of working nights, and I am tired of working weekends. And I'm really trying to keep a positive note as to the availability of positions in my area that I could work at.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the time here. I'm just trying to think of how long of an answer I give you. Okay, so the shortest answer is as soon as you stop trying and just claiming, I think your words have to change a little bit. Thinking positive does not manifest things. So it's better than not thinking positive, that's for sure, but it doesn't bring it from the invisible into the visible. So it's really a choice. It's not this is happening to me and it's out of my control and I have to wait for it to come. This is a matter of a choice. So I would change your words a little bit and just say I'm choosing a position that has these, characteristics if you want to go in that direction. Oh, excuse me. As far as when is concerned, it just feels like just reading. I've been doing so much parallel work and I haven't been doing a lot of reading. Let me just see here. It feels like early summer. So I would say by the end of June, it feels like you'll have kind of the thing that you want. Now, there's a lot of interference on your line, so I'm going to probably have to jump off. But it just feels like early summer when that all is going to come into alignment. As long as you choose it and not sort of wait for it in that sort of that going to happen spot. Okay, so that's what I'll say about that. Okay, moving on. I think we have one more person. Okay. Yep, we have Jody in Portland. Hi, Jody. We have like 2 minutes.
Hi.
Hi. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is just breaking through feelings of isolation. I feel like it's hard to do anything and get further, even in the manifesting and everything, because I just get, like, I don't know, like falling in a hole all the time. And it's mostly like a feeling of isolation, I feel.
Okay, this is a hard one for a minute. What's the actual question? Because I think you just gave me a description of how you're feeling, but what's the question?
I guess what's one thing I can do to have more contact and connection and physical contact with people?
What are you currently doing to do that? I mean, it's as simple as there's networking groups, there's meetup groups, there's social circles and that type of thing. But I mean, that's like a pretty concrete thing. But what are you doing what are you doing now to do that?
Either taking a class or going to like a dance class or I don't know. It's just been hard to find my tribe the last few years I've lived here. And
what's your tribe? What do you consider your tribe to be?
Textiles, plants, ecology, dancing, the arts, social justice. Those are just a few things that come to mind.
Okay. So why is it that you feel like you can't go out and do things with those people? I mean, I think you just had your own answer about taking classes and things. What?
I think it's something deeper that when I do things, it's just hard to connect to people or to make friends, even within that when I do things. It's like a deeper problem that I don't quite understand.
Huh. All right. Well, here's a quick. I mean, I have like a minute, and that's like a whole private session conversation. Here's the thing. What I would say is one of the I think the most powerful ways. I think there's all these prediction questions. I may stop doing readings because it's just to me very disempowering. Just listening to a lot of what I was listening to earlier. What I would suggest to you is this: when you do your manifesting work, when you sit down and you kind of get quiet and you sort of envision yourself, in what you desire, what I would suggest is that you see yourself sitting, at a local restaurant or a diner, someplace that you can really genuinely see yourself with new friends. And your scene would be, talking about how you were all so excited to no longer feel a sense of isolation and to have found each other. And that, and to really allow yourself to get that kind of, that sense of relief for finding your tribe. I know how you feel because being in California, I had one group of friends, and then that sort of fizzled, and then I went to a stage where I was completely not doing anything, and then now I've had a whole new set of friends who are totally in alignment, you know, super people, but it took time for me to get very clear on what I wanted in that tribe. So I would probably just write a list of characteristics of what you're looking for, and I would see a scene where, and that's what I started to do, is just to see myself at happy hour with people saying, I'm so excited to have found you guys, and them saying, yeah, I feel the same way. It's like, it's been exhausting, and now we found people that we're really in alignment with. And then clink glasses, like, here's to that, and that's it. That's the scene. That's what I would focus on. That will boost the energy way faster than any of the other stuff, you know, predictions and all that. That is it's you. It's always you making a choice that's bringing you the results that you're getting. So I'm going to have to jump because the show is literally over. My producer's going to kill me. But I hope that's helped. And have a good rest of your night. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. You're so welcome. Take care. All right, everybody. Well, we are now at the end of yet another Aha Moments radio show. If you'd like to join us in the Manifesting Lab, either level 1 or level 2, level 1 is an audio course, you can give us an email at support@ahamomentsinc.com. I'll be happy to send you the information. We're in the process of building an extensive website for all the courses. So we're just doing it, you know, one by one as people write in. And you should have emails from us in your inbox about the courses as well. And chin up. Keep yourselves very focused during this Mercury in retrograde time. If it's affecting you at all, pick a parallel. Well, maybe you're not having any effects of it. That's a better way to do it. And we will see you same time, same place next week. And that's it. And I will just end with my motto, which is, you truly can have exactly what you want, absolutely deserve it too. And in this new energy, anything is possible. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
You've been listening to the Aha Moments radio show with your host, Mari. Be sure to visit her blog and website at www.ahamomentsinc.com. That's AHA, moments with an S, inc.com. Also join Mari on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ahamomentsinc and Twitter at twitter.com/ahamoments. We can't wait to see you there.
da doo doo